program, Ghana National Petroleum Corporation assures GOIL of getting new investors to replace ExxonMobil in deepwater exploration project.
Exxon is going to top up our 5%. So we may even end up getting about 7 or 8% a share in the new deal instead of the 5%. So we believe it's not going to be difficult at all. We're going to get an investor coming in.
There's more ahead. Also, fuel prices expected to go up by just about 2% from Thursday due to rising prices of finished petroleum products. Plus, Ghana Tourism Federation welcomes 55 million cedi support from World Bank through government to revive the tourism sector post-COVID-19. My name is Darryl Kwao. This is Business Live. We will be right back. Brent crude hovering around $75 a barrel. We'll talk about why you should be concerned about that in about 3 minutes. First, though, the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC, has assured the management of GOIL that it will soon agree on a new investor to take over the Deepwater Cape 3 Point project, which has been abandoned by ExxonMobil. The international oil giant exited the project last month after an initial assessment of the site indicated a lower level of crude than expected. Group Managing Director for GOIL, Kwame Oseprempe, told Joy Business that many investors have started knocking on the doors of GNPC to take over the field.
I believe that there's no way that you cannot have another investor. No, there's no way. Indeed, Exxon is the largest explorer in the world. Deepwater. Yeah. And they believe, the way they assess their risk is different. So what if Exxon says that they assess the risk and the quantity that they will get is not to their satisfaction, any middle level explorer and the oil company will find it suitable. So as at now, GNPC has assured us that people are knocking at their doors. So now that if Exxon goes out, that means that our investment has gone. Indeed, what we are even hoping is that we've already expended money in the relationship with Exxon. So if a new partner comes in, our investment in Exxon is going to top up our 5%. So we may even end up getting about 7 or 8% a share in the new deal instead of the 5%. So we believe it's not going to be difficult at all. We're going to get an investor coming in.
Now, fuel prices are expected to witness a marginal increase from Thursday. Prices are expected to go up by about 2%. But what are the reasons behind the expected increment, and will the oil marketing firms absorb the adjustment? More in this report.
The increase is based on the new price list that the bulk oil distribution companies are willing to sell to the oil marketing firms from this Thursday, the 1st of July. According to the data secured by Joy Business, a litre of diesel and petrol should be increased by just under 2%. If the over 100 oil marketing companies decide not to absorb these new prices, as well as pass it on to consumers, then a litre will be sold at 6 cedis 33 pesos. For those who are interested in gallons, it will also be sold at 28 cedis 48 pesos. The bulk distributors of these products are linking the increase to rising prices of finished petroleum products on the world market. For some, there must be a strategy to minimize the impact of this on consumers because all projections suggest that prices will be going up further in the coming months. So for consumers, there is much to brace themselves up for.
From energy matters, let's talk trade. And in the next 6 months, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement will set up a fund of $1 billion to support member countries. According to the Secretary General, Wamkeli Meni, the fund, which is an adjustment fund, will help build competitiveness amongst the countries participating in the Trade Pact. He disclosed this to Joy Business.
Well, in the next 6 months, we should look out for an establishment of an AFCFTA business forum, focusing on small, medium enterprises to create connectivity for small, medium enterprises. We should look out for a launch of an AFCFTA adjustment fund, a fund of $1 billion, which will help countries that need to adjust to the new competition that will be presented by the AFCFTA. We should look forward to the establishment of a Pan-African payments and settlement platform to reduce the cost of currency convertibility on the continent. As you know, it's very expensive to convert currency in Africa. When you trade across regions from West to East Africa, all of these things are happening in the next 6 months. You never get outcomes in less than a year, in less than 2 years. So the assessment of trade in goods flows across borders on the African continent, it will take time. Countries are still setting up their customs procedures, but I'm happy to say that Ghana, Kenya, South Africa, Egypt are some of the countries that do have the customs procedures in place that are ready to admit goods that are traded under AFCFTA preferences.
Now, the Ghana Tourism Federation has welcomed the 55 million cedi support from government to revive the tourism sector post-COVID-19. The World Bank is giving this money as grant through the government to assist tourism players recover from the impact of the pandemic. But the Federation has expressed some concerns with the disbursement. Joining me now is Emmanuel Frimpong, who is Executive Secretary of GATOF. Great to have you on the program tonight. So we've been talking about this World Bank grant for a while now. It looks like we're making headway. At least there's some good news. The money is coming. Reaction from the businesses under you?
Well, yes, quite a good news for us. We had a meeting with the Tourism Minister, Minister Awal Mohammed, yesterday, and he mentioned a 55 million Ghana cedis has been allocated to the sector for development. Even though we are not quite clear, because he also mentioned that they are going to develop 2 iconic sites in each of the 16 regions. So we don't know if that money is going to be part of the money that will be used to develop those 2 iconic sites. If that is the case, then our cry has not been heard. So we look forward to actually delving deep into it to know exactly where this 55 million is going into.
So as we speak, we don't exactly know how the monies are going to be disbursed and where it's going to exactly.
Exactly, yes. He also mentioned that probably by the close of the week or next week, we will see the modalities and actually get to understand exactly how this disbursement will be done and where the money will actually be going into.
And so I'm told that you also want government to soften the requirement to enable several of your members access the funding. Do you know the funding requirements?
Darrell, if you look at most of our members, majority are in the informal sector. And we all know in Ghana, the informal sector is not properly regulated or is properly not registered. So what we saw with NBSSI disbursement was the fact that most of them could not meet the requirements. And if we are going to use almost the same requirements to ask these businesses to access the funds, then it is going to be difficult. What we think has to be done is Let's sit down and look at those who are doing genuine businesses. One, let's help them to regularize their businesses. And then also get them to go through the formality and register the business and see how we can support them rather than looking at those who can provide bank statements, those who have registered their businesses, and those who have actually regularized their business and can get certain documentation to present before they are given the support, because we are not in normal times. So if we are going to use the normal way of assessing people to get these funds, I'm afraid most businesses will not benefit.
Again, we've been making quite some noise about this World Bank grant. I just want you to explain to our audience how helpful this money would be for businesses that constitute the federation. Should they have access to it?
It's going to be extremely helpful because if you look at the tourism sector, it's quite huge and literally interlinked with every facet of the economy. So if we are able to access this fund, which is 40 million, but not everything that has been given to us at this point in time, if we are able to even access the 55 million Ghana cedis that the minister mentioned, it is going to help hotels. Hotels have employed a lot of people. We have tour guides, tour operators, chefs, we have car rentals, we have different restaurants operators who are operating in different levels. And all of them employ people. At least a minimum of 5 people are employed by these people. So if you look at the number of associations that we have, and then you look at, if you multiply it by 10, at least 10 employees, then you can look at the number of people that are employed in the tourism and hospitality sector, and then the ripple effect that it will have on other businesses. So this 55 million Ghana cedis is going to be extremely important and vital to the survival of our sector if we are able to access this fund.
And I'm reading the tourism minister on his tour of the Greater Accra region yesterday mentioned some grim figures to do with how much the tourism sector has lost from the COVID-19 pandemic. He talked about 8 billion Ghana cedis and resultant job losses estimated at 75%. That is incredible.
It is. Unfortunately, we haven't done an in-depth research to actually know the gravity of the situation. Probably our minister is being charitable. If you look down and you go down and look at what is actually happening on grounds, you realize that it's far worse than what we are seeing. But we just have to be hopeful with this funds coming in. We hope that it will help us to actually get our feet on the ground and start doing something.
And a final one, based on your interaction, what's your understanding of what the minister hopes to accomplish in the Greater Accra region, for which reason he undertook the tour in the first place?
I think this is the 10th region the minister has toured since he became our tourism minister just some few months ago. And that's quite incredible. Yesterday, when we met him, he said he'd done 9. And then right after the meeting, he did a Greater Accra one, and he's here to do the other 16. It's important because you cannot sit in your office and assume you know everything and just put policies together and ask people to run with it. It is better for him to be out there, know exactly what is on the ground. I remember when he went to the central region and most of the regions, he came back complaining, looking at the deplorable state of the infrastructure, the road infrastructure, the building itself, and even customer service, training, which yesterday he kept mentioning training and capacity building. Customer service is not the best, so he intends to set up training facilities and also equip the training institutions that we already have and get most of the tourism and hospitality operators to get some training, especially in customer service. So it is good that the minister is touring around to have first-hand knowledge of what is actually happening, so that if he's in the office and making any policies, he's in the office and making any suggestion, then he knows exactly why he's doing that, and then also knows the impact that he hopes to make.
I know I said my previous question was the final one, but I just remembered that during our last conversation, we spoke about the NBSSI's COVID-19 stimulus package and the fact that you guys hadn't heard anything when it started. Was it last week? Is there any progress being made?
Well, officially, we haven't. We have only seen the post around. And for some reason, if you look at the leaflet that is around, you don't even see tourism or hospitality, unless you go on their website that you see that the sectors that are qualified to actually apply tourism and hospitality is part. When you look at the flyer that is going around, you do not see tourism and hospitality. And so far, we haven't had any formal engagement. We haven't had anything from NBSSI, but we continue to encourage our members to apply. You never know, some might get something. But for some of us, we are not too keen about the way they've gone about their things.
Fingers crossed still. Thanks very much, Emmanuel Frimpong, who is Executive Secretary of the Ghana Tourism Federation. I appreciate your time with us tonight. You're watching Business Live. We are taking a short break. We'll have some more stories afterwards.
On today's edition of Money Lab, we want to take a look at the types of investments that are available on the Ghanaian market. For today, we will be looking at a very basic form called Treasury bills. When we talk of Treasury bills, we are looking at Government of Ghana short-term debt instruments. What this basically means is that as an investor, you are lending your money to government for use in the short term. Government in return will pay you interest on your money. Treasury bills take a duration of either 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year. Treasury bills are considered as risk-free instruments. This is because the possibility of government defaulting on their money is very minimal or even non-existent. You can buy treasury bills from any commercial bank or some selected investment houses. These institutions are known as primary dealers. So the next time you are considering investing in the short term or towards an emergency, consider investing in Government of Ghana treasury bills. Join us in the next edition of Money Lab as we continue our discussion on the types of investments that we have available on the Ghanaian market.
Well, welcome back to Business Live. Did you know machine learning is used to track small-scale businesses, and by this is making them credit-worthy? Well, the concept is new to me as well. Joy Business's Odilia Ntiama has been engaging Megan McCormick, CEO of OZE, a global company keeping digital records for businesses and hence making them investment-ready.
Is the fact that you are running your business digitally, you're giving digital receipts to your customers. We're also seeing that business is happening and that those who use OZE do perform better. So 97% of people who are using OZE are growing, profitable, or both. There's a ton of academic literature that says record keeping is good for profits. But it's really interesting to see that now play out in the data among our user base. I would say the last thing is when you talk to SMEs or people who work with SMEs, they will always say, oh, what SMEs need are loans. SMEs need access to loans. Loans. That's all we ever hear, right? But when we put a call out to our customers, only about 1/3 of them want to apply for a loan or are looking to apply for a loan in the short term. I believe that's because businesses that are in OZE are profitable at a certain level where they can reinvest your profits. And money from your customer is the best source of investment in any business. Of course, you do need a loan sometimes to expand your business, to get some equipment, something that your cash flow is not going to support. You need the money in a lump sum. And what we found is that loaning to OZE users is a really good business proposition. So over the last just about over a year, we've been making loans to OZE users. The first loans were even done during Ghana's stay-at-home order, so not the best of economic times. And 100% of those entrepreneurs are paying back their loans. And some businesses are now on their second or third loan, and the amount they're being approved for is going up and up and up each time they're taking a loan. Not just because they're lower risk, because we know about them, but because the way they're spending that money, having insight into how their business operates, is actually meaningfully improving their cash flows.
How are you tracing these SMEs? Because it's quite difficult, and that's why they actually do not access a lot of bank loans, because it's difficult to trace them. How are you tracing them through artificial intelligence or through what means?
Sure. So it's the usage of the OZE app that gives us the confidence to give someone a loan. I think we do use machine learning, which is a branch of artificial intelligence, to understand credit. But for me, it's like if you're a business owner who downloads a new technology, uses that technology consistently, month after month after month, and we know that people using OZE, their cash flows improved, then without having to bring in any machine learning, already I'm inclined to give you a loan because you have the right behavioral characteristics to know that you'll be diligent with this money. Now, what the machine learning does allows us to say this person can safely take this much, this person can safely take this much. But really it is just the use of OZE is in itself a very strong indicator that you're going to pay that loan back.
That means that based on how often they use it, you already have some level of data on them, and based on that, you give them the loan. What would you say the range of loans that you give them are, and which particular businesses are you giving these loans to?
So the loans range from 500 CDs at the low end up to 30,000 CDs at the high end. We would do more than that, but we only give based on what the cash flows can support. And our loans can be paid back, between 6 and 12 months. So they're not long-term loans, but for most MSMEs who are used to quick loans, they are quite long, especially because they don't require collateral. We've given loans across genders. So even though more men than women have gotten loans from OZE, actually 2/3 of the portfolio value, so the amount, has gone to women entrepreneurs. The majority of our borrowers are youth, and it cuts across sectors.
And here's one more reason to go digital. That's Business Live tonight. Thanks for watching. My name is Darryl Kwao.